going on, peeps? What's going on? So, I decided to get on here today because a lot of people know we got that winter polar vortex coming through, and it's gonna be bitching. And it's gonna be a lot of temperatures we hadn't seen for a long time, especially if you're, you know, if you're subscribed to my channel and you're not a trucker. There's gonna be a lot of things that's gonna, you know, be outside of the norm. So there's gonna be a lot of things that's outside of the norm. So the things that's outside of the norm, we want to make sure that we're prepared for them as a truck driver. And a lot of times, as a truck driver, we're always prepared for the worst. And sometimes you may not be prepared because you're always you may be you're used to a regional route or a local route. But if you go 100 miles outside of your way and that cold weather hits you, you're gonna be up the creek without a paddle if you're not prepared. So I want to just go over a few things today that's gonna be able to help you get prepared if you're not prepared for this upcoming weekend, and you know, also some different things as far as the South is concerned. Just want to let you know about those things. Right now I'm in Atlanta, GA, and since I'm in Atlanta, GA, I've been looking on the boards and everything, and I don't keep up with sports or anything like that, but I just found out that the Super Bowl, I knew the Super Bowl was going to be in Atlanta. I didn't know what day it was going to, I knew what day it was. I knew it was going to be on a Sunday, but I didn't know the date of the Super Bowl. So the Super Bowl is this weekend. And so if you plan on coming through Atlanta, I'm telling you right now, Atlanta traffic is already horrendous. So if you plan on coming to Atlanta for the weekend, or coming through Atlanta, or anywhere on 285, 75, 85, 20, if you plan on coming that way, you better make plans and make sure you got enough time in your schedule to get through, because traffic is gonna be horrible. So winter driving tips. Number one, always make sure you have some gloves, some extra gloves. I know some people, you know, I done seen some people out there before with just regular gloves on, or you know, they use the gloves that they pump their fuel with, or sometimes people don't even use gloves to pump the fuel with. That is disgusting. But anyway, make sure you have an extra pair of gloves. Make sure your stuff is, you know, kept in the truck instead of, you know, outside of the truck or whatever. Also, make sure you keep you some extra fluids on you, like antifreeze, you know, some oil. And what I like to use is that I seen Calvin Leaks post something. I think it was like 911 something for like a diesel treatment. But I like to use that Howes or Hose or whatever, HOWES. So I like to use that right there, and you can go pick that up at Walmart cheaper than you can, for about $10 cheaper than you can pick it up, you know, in a truck stop. But you got to do what you got to do if you're in a truck stop. I mean, if you're, you know, going to a place like that, because my brother stay up north. And he was telling me about those temperatures. And man, hey, it's supposed to be like, wind chill is supposed to be like 41 below zero. And like, good googly moo. They can have that right there. I like the cold, but shoot. Hey, that's cold right there, buddy. And some area, I was reading an article, and some areas supposed to be colder than Antarctica this weekend with the wind chill. That is crazy. So Always make sure you have you some gloves on. I mean, you have you some gloves. Number two, always make sure you have you some extra fuel. I mean, not fuel. Always make sure you have you some extra like antifreeze, oil, and use some of that diesel treatment, that House diesel treatment stuff. That's what I like to use. I recommend that right there. I need to see if they'll sponsor me. But anyway, always make sure you use some of that House for your truck. And if you can, like when once it get like 20 degrees, I just leave my truck running. I don't like to cut my truck off. So also always make sure you carry you some extra food. You know, something you can make a sandwich with in case you get stranded or something like that on the highway and people can't get to you. You don't want to be out there starving. So make sure you bring you some, make sure you always have some food and some water on you. Something that you can make in case, you know, the power goes out in your truck and your batteries stall up, or then batteries don't work or something like that. Make sure you have something that you can make you a sandwich. You know, I know this is horrible. Get you some potted meat. Get you some potted meat. So, yeah, make sure you get you some potted meat, some Spam, you know, something. Some sardines, something that you can eat on. Some peanut butter and jelly sandwich or something that's gonna be able to keep you in case you get stranded while you're out there on the highway. And always, if you can, if you don't, I don't use a CB, but during times like this, it'll be good to hook your CB up to see what's going on. So be good to keep hook your CB up to see what's going on. So also, since it's gonna be cold, you know those signs right before you get to the bridges that say bridge may ice before the road. That's because of that condensation on there and the water and everything. So make sure that you're going slower than you usually would when you're getting ready to cross a bridge, because there can be black ice on there. You know, the bridges be done froze up. You don't want to hit a bridge and go sliding off of the bridge. So you want to make sure that you're prepared for that also. And make sure that you know, just take your time. You're not in no rush. You go get the load there, you know, take some time, because, and also we're dealing with four-wheelers out here on the road. And so four-wheelers, people that drive four-wheelers don't have the same training that a CDL truck driver has. So you have to make sure that when you're driving out here on the road, that you drive for five, okay? That you drive for yourself, the person in front of you, the person behind you, the person right next to you, on the left and the right. So you got to make sure you drive for all of them. You got to keep your eyes peeled at all times to make sure that you know, that they're doing what they're supposed to do. And a lot of times they won't be doing what they're supposed to do, because, you know, they're going to be texting and driving. They're going to be arguing with a spouse, or yelling at the kids, or not even focused, listening to music, or eating a cheeseburger or something. You know, they're going to be doing all kind of things. So you got to make sure that you have to make sure that you're looking out for them, because they don't know they're not going to realize, hey, look, it's black ice up here. You know, because their eyes hadn't been trained to see it, especially if you're down south. You really don't even, you know, you don't see black ice that much. You think it's just, you know, water on the ground. You'll end up slipping, or they'll end up slipping onto you. So, slipping into you and hitting you. So, that right there for sure. Also, I want to make sure that you guys know this. If you're thinking about coming to Landstar, I want you to give the crossing agency a call. The crossing agency. Now, the crossing agency is the same thing as the GAD agency. It's the same thing. So make sure that you give the crossing agency a call at 844-899-7919 before you come over here. And you can go through the application process with them. They'll help you through the whole application process. If you got any questions, they'll be free. They'll feel free to help you with all of your questions, your comments, concerns, and anything like that. And I would recommend them to anybody. So if you plan on coming to Landstar, make sure that you give the crossing agency a call before you even get over here. So also, okay, so let's go over what I just went over. So number one, make sure you keep you some gloves with you. Make sure you keep you some a fuel additive so you can treat your fuel, because man, it's supposed to be getting like in some negative temperatures, like especially like Chicago, up in those areas like that. I talked to a friend of mine yesterday. She was telling me that they was on their way to Chicago, and man, the temperature up there is supposed to be cutthroat, brutal. And I'm telling you right now, if you ain't used to going up there, you need to make you a checklist and make sure that you got everything that you need as far as, you know, oil, antifreeze, and fuel treatment. Also, the next thing is this right here. Make sure I like to keep my tanks full. Like during a time like this right here, because you may get shut down and the highways may get shut down because of snow or whatever. Make sure you have you some fuel. Make sure you keep your fuel, because you may have to idle for a couple of days. And you want to make sure that you have enough fuel so that you can idle, okay? Also, make sure you have some extra clothes, some warm clothes. Make sure you have some extra clothes, because extra clothes, the clothes that you have on, you may be out there working on your truck, and your clothes may get wet. So you want to make sure that you have you some extra clothes. You want to make sure that you have you some extra clothes while you are out here on the road. Me, I keep about, man, I probably keep about 10 different changes of clothes with me at all times. Plus I sleep with like 4 different comforters. I sleep with like 4 comforters on me, and I got 5 in here. And so that's just because I like something heavy, you know. I like to have, you know, I sleep with 2 comforters in the summertime. And I don't even idle my truck in the wintertime until it hit like 20 degrees. And so I could go in the wintertime and not even if it's 20 degrees and above, maybe 22, well, I'm gonna say 22 degrees and above, I don't have to idle my truck because I like sleeping in the cold anyway. But if it drop down below that, yeah, I'm idling my truck, turn that thing on, man. So make sure you do that. So we talked about, what all did we talk about? Alrighty. So, yeah, and also, like, if you got a CB, make sure you hook your CB up so that you'll know what's going on around you, because, you know, cell service may be out, you know, where you're at. So you want to make sure that you got that CB, so you can talk to some other truckers, and make sure that you slow down. Make sure you be cautious of bridges and also black ice. Also, make sure you be cautious of 4-wheelers, because they don't have the same training as you do. You're considered a professional because you got, you know, your CDLs. So make sure you got that. Make sure you carry you some supplies, some food supplies, extra blankets, and, you know, some things that you can, like food and stuff like sandwiches, pate meat, stuff like that. So also make sure that you're watching out for distractions and everything like that. What else? Oh, also make sure you look at all the road signs, because there could be detours. And if you guys are looking at this right now and you think of something else that you could tell people to watch out for during when we have winter driving, or, you know, the Arctic blast or vortex or whatever, make sure you put it in the comments so that people can learn from you also. And when you're driving in this stuff, man, especially up north, it'll be snowing and icing and stuff like that. Turn the cruise control off. Turn the cruise control off. Also, this is gonna be the last thing right here, but also make sure if you can avoid those areas, avoid those areas. If you can avoid taking a load to Chicago or up north to Michigan, or you know where it's gonna be like brutally cold at, like -40 with a wind chill, -20 and stuff like. If you can avoid that, avoid it. Why go up there, put your truck through all that hardship, especially if you're an owner operator? And so, so make sure you do that. Oh yeah, also, man, your brakes can freeze on the tractor. Like when you're in temperatures like that, your brakes can freeze on the tractor, the trailer, everything. And you want me to tell you a tip somebody told me when I first started driving? When I first started driving, this guy told me, he was like, hey, always carry you a bottle of laundry detergent with you. Because if you're in a place, and let's say like if you're in a place and let's say like you're on some snow or whatever and you can't get no traction, you can put that laundry detergent around your tires and it'll melt that snow. And once you melt that snow, you can rock yourself back and forth and get out of that. Rock yourself back and forth and get out of that slippery spot so that you can get some traction to keep going. So that's just a little tip right there. You know, different people have different tips and things they do, things they've seen work. And so if you know of a tip or anything like that, make sure that you share it online. But man, this winter, this next week, it's supposed to be colder than a polar bear's toenails, buddy. I'm telling you. And it's gonna be rough out there. So it's better to be safe than to be sorry. This your boy L Boogie, coming to you like I always do. And you know I'm blessed from the Lord, highly favored, excited about Jesus, excited about the word of God. My cup is running over and I still want some more. How about you? Holla at